So today we are going to address the great Splatoon 3 debate. The big question, should we be getting Splatoon 3 so early? Now, I know typically the first response to this question is it hasn't been early, it's been 5 years since Splatoon 2 came out. Me personally, I've got my own feelings about this statement. For one, live service games typically last longer than 5 years. Take games like World of Warcraft, and yes, I'm mentioning it again, Destiny 2. That game has been getting consistent content updates for its 5 years of life so far. The whole 5 years. Not just what Splatoon 2 has gotten, where it got updates for like 2, 3, we'll go with 2. The rerun Splatfests weren't exactly new. This whole debate really is sprung by the fact that Nintendo really does not know how to handle live service games. The way that Nintendo is handling the Splatoon series on the Switch is like an amalgamation of past Call of Duty and modern Call of Duty. Past in the sense where when their game is done, they're totally done and they go on to make a new one, and present in the sense that they update the game for longer than 1 year. Yes, if you didn't know, Call of Duty games get updates for more than 1 year now. Black Ops Cold War, which came out in like 2020, just got a new map a few weeks ago as of recording this. So, you see what I mean here? It's a mix of both, and that leaves the Splatoon series in these abnormally long content droughts. Like, it's been 3 years since the last actual content update for Splatoon 2. There's been nothing totally new in Splatoon since the Final Fest in 2019. And I am not counting the Mario Splatfest because all they did was add around 20 sentences of dialogue tops. These long content droughts leave the Splatoon community in a horrible position. Right now, we know that we're getting Splatoon 3 soon, but what about the time period of August 2019 to mid-February 2021, where we had no idea anything new was coming? And remember, there's been nothing to do in Splatoon since August 2019. I cannot stress enough how not right that is for what's supposed to be a live service game. We now know, of course, Splatoon 3 is coming out soon, but even with that, what's the expiration date going to be on that game? Are we going to get another 2 years of content updates and then just one DLC again? And then what? 3 more years of nothing until Splatoon 4? The point I'm trying to make here is that Nintendo has treated Splatoon 2, and it's led to this great debate that we're asking ourselves today on if Splatoon 3 should be coming out, or if Nintendo should have just kept with Splatoon 2 and kept making more updates. In reality, I think there's a lot more of a moderate answer to this question. We should have gotten more content updates for Splatoon 2 until Nintendo was ready to announce Splatoon 3. It could have totally saved this community from having to go through this stupid debate. Content updates should have been handled how the switch from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 went. There were only 7 months between Splatoon 1's Final Fest and the launch of Splatoon 2. And in my opinion, I think Nintendo originally had tried to pull that off again similarly with what they were doing from Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 3. My reasoning for this is, of course, the infamous Holiday 2019 and New Year's 2020 post teasing the Splatoon community into an absolute stroke. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Nintendo originally intended to make the wait between Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 much shorter, but the pandemic came in and tore all hopes of that away. For all we know, without the pandemic, they could have been totally ready to show Splatoon 3 at a non-existent E3 2020, which, if that's the case, makes me feel pretty bad for Nintendo having to see their community debate over something that they totally tried to solve, but couldn't because of factors outside of their control. So, to try and tie this all together, should Splatoon 2 have gotten more content updates, and should we be getting Splatoon 3 like we are? If Nintendo had intentions of making the wait between 2 and 3 shorter, if there were no pandemic, then we should have just gotten Splatoon 3. But if Nintendo knew they were going to be a few years without anything new for the Splatoon series, they should have given more content updates or just Splatfests while working on Splatoon 3, even if it meant they would have to take some devs from Splatoon 3 and keep them working on Splatoon 2. Because at the end of the day, if Nintendo wants to call Splatoon a live service, which is what they've said when they first announced Splatoon all the way back in like 2014, then they need to actually keep something alive. But that's it for me. What do you guys think about the great Splatoon 3 debate? More content for Splatoon 2 or jump straight to Splatoon 3 even if it means a longer wait? Let me know in the comments. I always read them. Alright gamers, see ya.